Hello everyone, this is the Pennsylvania Florida Eastern back again finally for a review on the FA2's by Bachmann, sorry. It's been a long time coming for these. I don't have my L&N FA2's out from Bachmann, but I brought these out because these are more relevant towards the Pennsylvania and Florida Eastern side of this channel. Mainly because these are Pennsylvania, obviously. But yeah, these are pretty nice models. These are used. These are not brand new. I didn't get these from Train World or anything. I got them from eBay. This one for about 60-something bucks, and this one for about the cabless unit was about 50 or 60 bucks as well. They were both DCC ready, so they all have like an 8-pin DCC ready board. So if you have anything that can plug into an 8-pin board, there you go. What I have these locomotives equipped with is the TCS WOW Diesel decoders. Now these are, I believe these are 1520. It's not a 21-pin connector. I'm sorry. No, it's one of those. It's like the Steam connector decoder with the 9-pin socket. It's one of those boards, and they both come with Keep Alive. Now, before I get into more of this about the locomotives, these are tightly packed inside here. I got a 9-pin to 8-pin adapter from Soundtrax, and Soundtrax's 9 to 8-pin adapter can work with any decoder that has a 9-pin JST plug. Anything that's JST a 9-pin socket, JST can work with a 9-pin JST adapter by Soundtrax. So that's how I got the TCS WOW decoders in here. I didn't swap any boards or anything. And they also have Keep Alive, obviously, for reasons why. I just like to have that extra sense of security with these models. I don't know if you can see inside here. You might. No, you're probably not. There is a Keep Alive behind that glass. It's amazing how little room there actually is in these FA2s. It's a real shame, unfortunately, but they kind of run warm a little bit. Fortunately, there's some air that can come out of it. It's actually a won't focus, but there's a smoke exhaust stack right here, and it's actually just a hole in there, so air can flow out of there, the hot air. So that's the good thing about these Bachmann shells, I guess, is that they can have some ventilation from all that heat coming from the decoders. So sorry, I got a wild cat in here. He's just a pain in the ass as usual. Some people are like, oh, he's a cool cat. Yeah, he is fun when he's not being a cat. He wants to be a center of attention. But yeah, these do kind of run a little bit warm. I have lubed them, and I have taken the shells off the lube. The motor where motor's connected to 2 flywheels, and in between the motor and the flywheel, you want to lube that bearing over there. Otherwise, it will make a lot of excessive squealing sounds or something of this sort. And if you don't get to it soon, it could wear out the bearing, and God knows what would happen. I have never had a model that failed like that, so I can't really say for sure. I don't recall these models having anything else but the 8-pin dummy plugs inside of here, so they can only run DC. So the history on these is unknown. However, I will be adding at some point some grease and more lube on the bearings for these trucks inside here. I can't see how this truck would come off. I would have to open it up and figure that out when I do more maintenance on these. However, they run pretty well. I don't run them too fast. They barely got approved for running for the fair. At some point, I'll make a video about what it means to approve your locomotives and freight cars at South Florida Fairgrounds Model Train Club. It seems rather simple, but when you have to run something that lasts at least, in case for sound engines that have sound and DCC Sound, it's really a minimum of 4 hours nonstop of failing, derailing, or anything. So it does sound like, oh, that doesn't seem really hard, you know. Trust me, there's a reason, and I've seen it for myself of things failing, especially after an hour or so. Even if you can't just run things right out of the box, and I learned that, you know, obviously when I ran my freight train. So if you saw my video about trains running at the fair part 1, I did have a freight train going there. I had my Pennsylvania freight train that you've probably all seen numerous times through my running session videos. And unfortunately, the 3 Cabooses I had connected to it somehow derailed and uncoupled from the rest of the train over a turnover or crossover, an X crossover on the main line. And another train, I guess, ran behind it. So, well, of course it did. It ran behind it. And, you know, everything was engaged before, and you know what? It probably was because there was not enough weight to it. There's a weight requirement. And yeah, it had to be taken off the layout. I'm not sure if these FA2's will be running next weekend. I definitely, before I run them for the fair next weekend, I don't know what trains they're going to be pulling. I don't even know if they're going to pull a train. They might pull a passenger train, even though these are freight models. It really is one of those things, just like, you know, it's kind of tough getting stuff to run. Anywho, to get back on track, details on this model. Well, the FA2 unit, or the cab unit, as some might call it, maybe back then, it's got a good amount of detail. It's got some roof grab irons. It doesn't have any side ladder grab irons, which is fine. I'm not too picky on that. There is no number board, so you can make these any number you want. I'd have to get a white decal for these, which is kind of hard to get, especially right now. Headlight is really just one bulb behind there, but it looks like there's 2 if it focuses. That's what happens when you have an animal in the background. It wants to focus on the animal. If it can focus. Nope. Well, that's where that is. Right there. There we go. Finally. It's got the Pennsylvania Railroad keystone, which is really nice. The painting on this is actually pretty nice. This is a dark green lacquer enamel. It's really cool. It looks like it's black, but it is pretty much the correct color, especially for diesels. Good job on Bachmann for that. Now, these trucks are a little bit wiggly, and which is fine. It hasn't caused any derailments, especially running them at the club. To take off the shell for the A unit, it's a pain in the butt. It really is, and I hate it. Especially when it comes to this front coupler thing right here. And I don't have it on right now, mainly because I was messing around with this thing, and I have to put Kadees on this at some point. So, yeah, it's taking the shell off of the A unit is a pain in the butt. It's pretty much the same as the B unit, except it doesn't have a rounded front end like this. But it's pretty much the same on the underside. Room is a little bit less, so if you have like a keep alive capacitor decoder in here or whatever, good luck. This was a little, I had to modify what I did inside here to make sure that it completely encloses, because it's tightly packed inside this model. It's missing a train phone, obviously. The backside detail, it doesn't have a backwards headlight. And it's got a good amount of grab irons. I mean, the steps are, pretty minimal, and the bottom and the tank is pretty minimal as well. There's no red, cap or knob or something on here on this. There's not a lot of detail under here, which is a shame, but, it's Bachmann. What do you expect? You can always add your own on these models. And the truck detail's okay, but it's all plastic and it's rather flat. Again, you can always add your own details and whatnot. Wheels are not sprung or anything like that, and that's fine with me. As long as it runs, it's whatever. It's not as expensive as Rapido, and it's not as detailed as Rapido, but I'd rather buy these over Rapido. Rapido is rather expensive, and I'm sorry, I don't want to. I mean, for steam engines, I can understand the value to be a higher price, but when you got diesels that are like around $270, DCC Sound, I'm sorry, that's just, in my opinion, way too much. Unless, there's something unique about it, I guess. I mean, diesels tend to be a really boring looking thing. They either are bricks. I call the B units bricks. They look like bricks. They don't have a lot of look to them. And really the only interesting thing can be the A unit, and even then, it still looks like a brick. And this goes for, most diesels, even the Baldwins, my favorite diesel, and, the C-liners as well. It's just, the diesels are not the most exciting looking locomotives. They're really utilitarian in design, especially the B units. They're just there to be as battery units or as basically just units. They're just there as a power plant on wheels, and the cab unit is really just there for the crew to hang out and to control the train. So it's just, it is what it is, They're not. You don't have to over detail them. If you want to, you always can. These Bachmann models, in my opinion, are pretty nice. Unfortunately, nobody else makes a cheaper FA2 right now. I think the only other person who makes FA2's now is Rapido, and in current times of manufacturing and releasing them. I don't know if Walthers plans to make any more. It'd be a shame if they don't. MTH is out of the business now, and all of HO tooling from MTH is now in Scale Train's hands, so maybe you might see some FA1's, FA2's from them. Who knows? Right now, it just seems to be, if you want to get FA2's on a budget, you go to Bachmann. And right now, I actually find these to be rather hard, especially the A units. A units, I was lucky to find, and they seem to be sprouting up again. But before, when I was trying to look for A units, it was just a pain in the butt to find them. And I want the DCC ready ones. I don't want the DCC Sound. And the reason why I don't want the DCC Sound equipped ones is because it's not an 8-pin plug in there already. So if you don't want sound, you have to get a new DCC ready board. Or you have to hardwire the entire thing. So, I don't really want to have to hardwire, so I'd rather make it easier than to make it more tedious. It's an engineering philosophy. You want things to be worked on easier than made harder. So if you want to work on your own models and put whatever decoder you're on, the DCC ready ones are just fine for the value. I mean, you can probably find these sometimes at train shows if nobody really wants them. You probably get them for like $20 a piece. And I got a couple of these for Louisville and Nashville for $20 a piece. The DCC ready B units. It's insane. And only the A unit was already DCC Sound, so there you go. And in terms of drive quality, to be honest, it's good. I haven't ran these long enough to really give a solid opinion about that, because these are considered used models. I got these on eBay, so I don't know what their story was before I got them. And it seems to me that they need a little bit. They have been ran, and they just haven't been maintained. And just like a car, you have to maintain this thing. I watched a video from a YouTuber called I Do Cars. A lot of the cars that he takes apart, the motors, and really the motor, I'm sorry, not the cars, But the motors that he takes apart, right? And you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with model trains? It's the same exact principle. You have to maintain your stuff because a lot of the engines they torn apart were oil starved, and they pretty much tear themselves apart. And then there you go. Who knows how many? Usually he doesn't know how many miles they come in, but it could be any mile. And this goes for, and that's why it's important to maintain anything that moves or anything that has gears or anything that has electric motors. You got to keep these things maintained. And I'd love to do, unfortunately, I already maintained my Blue Line T1, which I'll do a review at some point. Right now, I'm just so busy, guys. I don't have as much time or the time to really have like this alone, quiet time to really just get down and start doing videos, especially videos like this. Really, I'm just focusing on the fair and doing my other things that I do in life. So for the time being, this is what I got for now. I'm really doing one shot in this video, but don't worry, we're going to get to the next scene, and I'm going to do a little bit of editing magic so we can see what's under the hood of this B unit, and then we'll start reviewing the TCS WOW Diesel part, the decoders that's in this locomotive. Actually, both locomotives have DCC Sound, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I like the multiple units to have sound because it makes more presence of what you would probably hear in real life. Alrighty. So now I got the shell off. This is what it looks like inside the model. Now, normally you'll just see this DCC ready board, which is that green board right here. As you can see, I've taped down the speaker that I bought a whole bunch of these recently. And I wired it up, took the original wires that I was already connected with, and hooked up the two purple wires that come from the TCS WOW board. And where do I have... Oh, yeah, there it is. So there, I was like, whoa, hold on. I'm looking at two things at once. It sucks. I'm trying to make sure that everything's in shot. So the TCS Keep Alive is right here in the front. Now, on the A unit, it's kind of hard because of the hood right here would be really low. So I had to tuck it in right over here, really close to the board. And the motor is right down inside here. I can't really tell what kind of motor it is, but it looks like one of those... flat side, flat cam motors. What it means is like the sides are flat on it. It's got two flywheels in there, and it's really interesting. It looks like somebody did on this side. It looks like somebody, if I would focus, what I'm trying to say is it looks like somebody was trying to do a hardness test on the flywheels, which is strange, but I guess it's part of the flywheel design. Man, you got a die-cast iron chassis or some sort here. Got a die-cast chassis right here. It's got a good amount of weight. You don't need more weight on this. If you want to add more weight, by all means, figure it out. I mean, you got a limited amount of space anyways. Everything in here is pretty packed up once it's, once the shell's on top. So the speaker's in the back, and pretty much that's where your sound comes in, is on the bottom side. There's not really much going on here other than, I got the TCS WOW Diesel board in the middle, pretty much on top of this. It's really difficult to try and keep everything separate, and the TCS decoders seem to run a little bit warm. But I think it's because, everything's so tightly packed in here, you're gonna have to expect that it will get warm in here. I haven't really given a long time test on these things to really try and figure out how long these things stay warm until you should probably just give them a break. But yeah, this is pretty much what you're gonna see inside if you're gonna do a TCS WOW setup like this. You definitely want to get one of those JST 9 to 8 pin adapters if you want to get the TCS WOW kit right here. I forgot what's the TCS WOW kit that this is, but it's pretty much similar to the TCS 1517 kit for the steam locomotives. You can also get a Keep Alive as well on there, and it's a good setup. It's just for FA2's, they're pretty tightly packed. I'm not sure how it is for the F units that from EMD, but for the ALCO FA2's by Bachmann, they're kind of tight in here. I can't imagine what they're like in other models as well. So after this, I'm going to show you the running session of the FA2's. They're pretty fun to run. I got the sounds all set up for this locomotive, well, actually both of these locomotives, and I really love the sounds from TCS WOW for diesel. And it's not just steam that I love; it's TCS. For some reason, in my opinion, I think is underrated for their diesel sounds. A lot of people are like, well, you know, the Tsunami 2 is pretty good. I'm like, I don't know, man. Tsunami 2 either seems too soft or seems too, you know, it sounds like it's like the new QSI of like, it sounds outdated, you know? That's just me. I'm not saying, you know, Tsunami 2 sucks. It's just, to me, their sounds not as good as I would like it to be or as realistic, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Some people could disagree with me. I don't care. It's whatever. ESU. I have ESU for my TGV train sets. I believe I'll be using more ESU for my high-speed trains. It's my side hobby for those who not know. It's something that I like to do. I like to get European and whatever high-speed trains sets for because I like them. I like high-speed trains. I think they're cool. I know it's out of era with my Pennsylvania stuff, but you know, you like what you like and you get it because you like it. You know, it's what's great about the hobbies. You like what you want and you get it. All right. Well, I'll see you in the running part. Alrighty, now I have both units on the track. I'm going to start up the power, and before I start up the power, I want to talk about the cool thing about starting up the power. Unfortunately, you can't control the prime mover startup. That's what I like about the TCS WOW is that when you turn on the power, the diesels will have a startup sequence, which I think is pretty cool. However, there's no really like, you know, turn off sequence, which kind of sucks, but you know what? I don't really mind. I usually, once I, you know, start locomotives up, I just want them to start making sounds. However, I do think it's really cool that when you have locomotives like Broadway and even ESU with their decoders on their locomotives and trains, you can choose when you want to start up and shut down the prime movers, which is pretty cool. It's a lacking feature. Steam engines, once you turn them on, they just start making steam sounds. So it could be a gripe to some people, but in my opinion, you know, when I want to start running trains, I want to start hearing the sounds and I want to start running the trains. It's you know, it just gets me right into the fun. Especially those who just want something that, you know, makes beeps and boops right away and wants to have fun, whatever, and they're on a budget. So here's the interesting thing. I can't really tell which one's making the sound. Unless probably if you keep them apart, you'll probably hear that both of them are making sound. They both have keep alive, so, you know, anything that happens, you know, they're still going to be making sounds. So we're going to go press the horn. Whoops, sorry. I don't even have these on right address. All right, here we go. That's a Leslie 200 series horn. I like I like the early diesels, the first gen diesels horns. They're pretty simple and they're pretty cool, and they're kind of European in a way. We got the bell. The bell I chose is a rapid bell. I really like the rapid bells, especially for freight and diesel engines. The PRR seem to have a lot of either pneumatic bells or some sort of bell system that they have either set up so that it has a rapid sequence, especially their steam engines. I know the I1SA does that. I'm not sure about the H10, but I know that the K4s that's at a later point started to have some sort of pneumatic bell, and the T1s. And I really like the really fast-paced bells. It really tells people, to watch out when you got like a freight train ready to hook up and get going. So we're gonna rev up the prime movers. If I can figure out how to rev it up. Oh, there we go. So now they're pretty much at max RPM, which is pretty cool. And we're gonna lower them down. It's pretty cool. Got a headlight going. And I really love the slow speed crawl. You can't see me making a smile, but I love this. Nothing like it when you hear the power of two Alcos. By the way, these are Alco 251 prime movers. Yeah, that little bit of the starting of the A unit probably shows that it definitely needs some more lubrication. I'm going to go forward. Put the bell on too. I just turned off the headlight, but yeah, I mean they're allowed, and there's so many other prime movers you can check out. There's a video that I'll link in the description about the other prime movers that TCS WOW has. Pretty much a glimpse of what they have. If you also want to look up what prime movers they have, definitely look up the product for TCS WOW Diesels. They'll give you like pretty much almost a whole list of how many diesel prime movers they have. It's pretty much, if you want to find the diesel prime movers, if you go into your chuff sets, kind of like your steam engines, it's pretty much there. However, there's another way of selecting the different manufacturers of prime movers. You got EMD, ALCO. You have I think Witchcomb and no, not Witchcomb. You have ALCO, EMD, and GE. I don't want to be wrong. I could be wrong. And they have Baldwin. Baldwin's one of their new ones, and I have to be honest with you, I love the Baldwins. My C-liners, which I'll do a video at some point with them with sound, have Baldwin prime movers in them. And you're probably wondering, why is there Baldwin prime movers in Fairbanks Morris diesels? And the issue is that, well, TCS WOW does not have Fairbanks Morris prime movers yet. They have the Fairbanks Morris horns, and they have, well, pretty much only horn, and the Fairbanks Morris bell that goes with them. However, they do not have the prime movers, and that is the only letdown in my opinion. That's just my personal letdown for these decoders, is that they don't have Fairbanks Morris prime movers. Which is a shame, but you know what? I put Baldwin prime movers in them because I feel like that's something that my railroad would do. The Pennsylvania, Florida, Eastern is pretty Baldwin-centric, and they pretty much upgraded a lot of their locomotives fictionally. This is my fictionary story, where they put Baldwin 608As in them. My Broadway Limited Baldwin Sharks have 608As, and my Sealiners also have 608As as well. I have Baldwin Centipedes. They have twin 608A prime movers in them. At some point, that's it. That's just it. I don't even know what I'm going to say after that. I don't even know what would Baldwin make afterwards. Probably something similar to GE and EMD in terms of diesel evolution and prime mover power, but I think at some point they would have their traction motors replaced with AC traction motors instead of DC, so they can handle higher amounts of power. Because pretty much the max is around 2,000 to 3,000 is the max that DC motors would do, somewhere around there. So yeah, TCS WOW Diesel, guys, you gotta look at the link I send you, because you'll just be like, wow, this is pretty cool stuff. And to be honest with you, I mean, my club president, he said he peed a little when he heard the prime mover startup of a GEVO. Yes, they have a GEVO sound file in TCS WOW Diesel. So if you're a modern modeler, definitely give them a listen and maybe a try on your model engines. It's just, they're absolutely amazing. And if you're an early modeler and you want to have some fun and have really great sounds, check by Bachmann. Modern Bachmann has some pretty neat stuff. The FA2's are one of Bachmann's more recent made models. Like any model, you got to take care of it. You know, some models are terrible, absolutely. Usually you figure out if the model is terrible in the first month of owning it. It's usually where you find the majority of the faults. When I got these, I've had not really many major issues at all. The only issue I had is, again, the squealing from the bearings of these. I think it's probably the A unit. And the bright side is that I have chassis from my other FA2 on the LNN model, and I can just gut out, you know, the decoder in there and just plop this setup inside that one and just use that chassis and keep that one going if this decides to fail because of the lack of maintenance on this model. It's not because of me. I made sure that I had lubrication inside here before trying to run it, and it did solve the problems when I was testing these locomotives for my club to be certified. So yeah, you got to take care of your models. It doesn't matter if it's Bachmann, Broadway, Kato, especially Kato, modern Walthers, and even Athearn. You know, if you take care of these models and you just lubricate them and just check them once in a while, see how much grease they have. And the gears will tell you if there's not a lot of grease, and they'll probably need some more grease. I highly recommend Labelle. Get some Labelle grease and get some Labelle 106 lubricant. You only need a small drop in the places where it needs lubrication. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know my screwdriver just rolled off and we're hearing the sounds of these locomotives. The Bachmann FA2's, I think, are a great value for what you can get for model trains. If you can find these on eBay for a really good value, especially DCC ready, they're worth the price. You can add your own details to them. These kind of models, you know, they're not the most well-detailed, and some things might be off, and you know what, that's okay. To a river counter, that's sacrilegious, but you know what? If you're a new modeler and you want to find something that's cheap, runs pretty well, and something that you can learn from, I really recommend, you know, these Bachmann FA2's. They're pretty solid models, and it's a shame I haven't really done a review on these earlier with my LNN models, but for some reason I didn't feel like they were the top of the list priority to review. So, yeah, you know, there you have it. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video again. Yeah, TCS WOW Diesel. It's amazing, guys. All right, Have a great one, guys. See you in the next video. Bye now.